Hello, and thanks for joining us on this HOA Leader video chat with two of our experts. My name is Gabriella Falisco, and today I'm joined by Nancy Palomas of Minnesota and Brad Van Ruyen of Florida. Today, to answer a question from a reader, we're discussing whether a board can amend bylaws on check signing authority or whether that's an issue that must go out for owner approval. In a nutshell, our reader asks whether it's okay for a board to have voted to amend the bylaws to say that instead of the president and the treasurer will sign all checks up to $1,500, amounts over that will require either the president or secretary to initial and pay. And our reader, who is the president, is objecting. Our reader prefers a $500 amount max, and our reader is concerned that 5 checks in 1 week for $14.99 each could be written, wiping out the finances. And our reader also says the association's financial and insurance experts might not like this change. So before we jump in, though, I want to let you know that our experts are providing insights based on the laws in their state and their experience in their state. And we're providing you general guidance you can use to help you when you approach experts in your state. So let's jump in. Nancy, Brad, thanks for joining us. And Nancy, why don't you start this one?
Sure. So I will say that having a provision like this with the specific dollar amount is very rare to find in bylaws. Typically, you would more likely see this in a board resolution that sets out what the signing agreements are between among the board members. So it's very rare that you would see these dollar amounts and that specificity in the bylaws. As I often tell my clients who want to put that level of specificity in, $1,500 today is not going to be the same as $1,500 in 10 years. So we don't want to have to come back and change it again.
Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think when the board has to look at how best they're going to manage the affairs of the association. And I agree with what Nancy was saying, that generally in bylaws, we see language that says, that outlines the responsibilities of the treasurer. And when it talks about language about how they disperse funds, it normally says along the lines of, and shall disperse such funds as directed by resolution of the board of directors. Anytime most governing documents here in the state of Florida state that if you want to amend the bylaws, it requires a majority vote of the members at a duly called meeting for such purpose. So these may be older governing documents, or the board president may in fact be misinterpreting the amendment of the governing documents to that of a board resolution.
And that's, yeah. Yep, and most of the time in Minnesota, you'll find a requirement for homeowner approval of an amendment to the bylaws. But sometimes I will see where the amendments section will just say in accordance with applicable Minnesota law. And the corporate law in Minnesota does allow the board to amend the bylaws without homeowner approval, unless the bylaws or articles say otherwise. So usually when I'm drafting, I do provide otherwise, because I think it's important for homeowners to weigh in on an amendment to a bylaw.
Yeah, I'm on a nonprofit board, and ours say that the members must weigh in on any changes to the bylaws that affect their voting rights. So it's a limited thing. So things on administration of the board, we could amend ourselves. So that's maybe another variation you might see in another state's law.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us, listeners, and thanks, Brad and Nancy. We hope you'll join us again next month.